Take me to the place where you were before deciding to go to Australia. So back in UK, so you were 18 when you decided to go to Australia, or 19 already?
I I think when I decided I was 18, uh,
Mm-hmm.
after my last exams, I went traveling for 2 months around Europe, and
Mm-hmm.
along that route, I met so many people who had been to Australia, done the whole work and holiday thing, told me, it's so easy, you can make so much money so quickly, and you can go and travel after. So I said, okay, it's a great idea.
Uh-huh.
I think the first time I ever really knew something about it was from the In-Betweeners movie. I don't know if you've seen
In betweeners. No, I think no.
it. So in the second In-Betweeners movie, you've seen the In-Betweeners or no?
I don't think so.
I
It
think that's
sounds, it rings a bell, but
it's
I don't remember it.
it's a British comedy that I think you would really appreciate because of the.
Okay.
I know you
Okay.
obviously spend some time with British culture, so you would understand it.
Okay.
Um, but there's one of the characters who goes to Australia, and then he tells his friends all these things, this life that he was living, which was all a lie. When they get there, they realize that it was a lie that he constructed, and they go on an adventure. And it was not representative of any Australian experience. I mean, the Australian experience for everyone is different. Everyone has a different time when they're out there down under. Everyone has a
Mm-hmm.
different experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it was after these couple of months in Europe that I said, okay, I'm gonna go back and work my job for 2 months. 2 months was my plan. I wanted to be in the UK and leave in October when I was still 18. Obviously, that didn't happen, and I became a supervisor at my old job in the call center, a temping bowling call center, and I ended up staying working there until August. And that whole time, it wasn't a good moment for me, having seen a little bit of Europe really made me want to discover more of the world and to see what was out there, to meet more people, to learn, go and do things, try different jobs. And I didn't know what to expect before I got to Australia. When I left the
Mm-hmm.
UK, I I couldn't even bring myself to really clear my room. On the last night I was there, I started packing my bag at 2 a.m. and I just threw some things into my bag. I'd paid for extra luggage and the bag came to 7 kilos. Imagine you're leaving your home country, your home, with 7 kilos worth of stuff. I put in a few t-shirts, a few pairs of underwear, and I guess that was it. Like I had nothing, no plan. I didn't have my visa for Australia. I just had my passport, a little bit of money, and my first few flights to get me to Asia, and then that was it. I was going from there.
Wow. Oh. So there was no, okay, okay. So it was more of an impulse to get to Australia rather than a planification to say, like, okay, so I'm going to be doing this, doing that. This is going to be my first stop. And then the second one, you just felt the impulse to, you got a bit of, you get to know a bit of Europe. And then based on meeting people around there, talking about Australia, you just took the impulse and you went for it.
Yeah, something like that. I just knew that I needed a change. I I had originally wanted to go to South America. South America had been, something that I don't know what attracted me to it for all that time ago. I remember I
Mm-hmm.
used to just Google images of places in South America and want to go. So I said, okay, my plan at that time was I wanted to go to Australia for 1 year and then to go to South America and travel for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, a couple of months in, that changed very quickly. When
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
hit, I said, okay, I know this isn't going to be possible anymore.
So you're with your 3 years in Australia. Um, what can you tell me about that experience? Because yeah, maybe I don't know. Was there many expectations on Australia, or you just you got these good recommendations and you were like, okay, yeah, let's go, let's get there, but then you stay, but then you stay 3 years, which is not not a short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll unpack that a little bit. And I really like to think that I didn't arrive with many expectations to Australia. I had heard that it was a land of opportunities. I knew a little bit about the history, but not so much. It was very much, we'll see what happens. I knew I had some contacts out there, old family friends who've been there now for, I believe, about 15 years. And I had a friend out there from my school.
Hmm.
She'd arrived earlier that year, and
Okay.
so I met some people. And when I was moving towards Australia, into Asia, when I was in Bali and Malaysia, I started to meet people, as you did at that time, and now again, you meet lots of people in Southeast Asia who have been living and working in Australia or going to Australia. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I started to hear about some of their experiences and their thoughts and opportunities, and I took some contacts, and then everything. But it really doesn't prepare you, because you
Hmm.
arrive to Australia and you realize that everyone has a different experience. It all depends on the energy that you get, that you surround yourself with. You can you can really become something in Australia if you want to. And
Hmm.
I feel like I did. I feel like I accomplished a lot of those things. I feel like I became a new person and learned a lot about myself. So it was an amazing experience, those 3 years, and I would never change how I did one single thing. There are still places that I would like to go, for sure, but
Hmm.
it's a country that's just in the corner of the world, and one
Yeah.
doesn't know when they're gonna go back.
And also basing on your age, when you were there, you were basically in the transition, leaving the teenager years and becoming a young adult,
Hmm.
basically. Because if we compare our cases, when I went to Australia, I was already 27, I think it was
Hmm.
20 27 or 28, and literally 10 years older than you. So you finish high school,
Hmm.
and then a little bit later you were in Australia, and you stay there your first three, way to say it, your first 3 years becoming a man, finishing the teenager stage, and then jumping into the 20s, and being more independent and everything.
Yeah.
um that's that must have been a really intense and vivid combination, the experience, because it's a personal stage when you're transitioning. Usually most of the people, they do it at home, they
Hmm.
stop with high school, they start getting the first job, or like things like that. Some people move out from their parents, things like that, transitioning into the adult life. But for you, you went to this far away country, and then you stay there these 3 years, traveling, getting all these contacts that you knew, all the people that you knew from before, but then everyone knew that you met through the way.
Yeah, 100%. And I think during a lot of that time, I wasn't thinking about those things.
Mm-hmm.
I really had a lot of pressure on myself to be the person I expected myself to be. And what you say is so correct. I arrived, I was still a teenager. coming towards the end of my teenage years. But yeah, it was my second year out of school. And yeah, you can say once after you finish high school, secondary school, that's the time, that is really when your freedom comes. You're no longer obligated to go to school to study, to work. Obviously, I think that we should be contributing in some way to ourselves, to the people we're living with, etc. But
Mhm.
in comparison to how I lived the first year that I was free from school, free from, where I got to choose my responsibilities. Well, in that year, I stayed at home living with my mom. A lot of things were still done for me. She still used to cook me meals and do my laundry and things like that. So I was really still in so much of a bubble that I had no idea.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
I
yeah.
went to Australia, and then okay, this is my first time living in hostels, living with other people.